when I did the Anavar and I would go there, I would go and I would push through it. And I'd be like, "Ugh," and I would keep going and I would feel the burn. It would burn so bad in my arms, but somehow I still had the strength to keep fucking punching. And then I would start to like get a little bit weaker. And then all of a sudden I would get kind of this second wind of strength and endurance again. And I would fucking speed it up again to the point where Yo, what's up guys? In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about Anavar and my experience with Anavar and what it feels like to be on Anavar, because I have taken Anavar. I've taken a lot of Anavar. And I'm going to tell you about it right now because after I did my D-ball video, somebody asked me, they're like, oh, can you do one on Anavar? Because I've heard it's better, I've heard it's safer. And Anavar is kind of like touted as this the safe steroid or the perfect steroid or something like that, because I guess relative to other steroids, it is there are fewer side effects, and it has a good safety profile. I guess it's like safe enough for women to take, and it has a good reputation, I guess, right? And I took it for a while, and I'm going to give you my experience on it. So this, when I took this, it was during the same period that I mentioned before, where I was in New York and California, and I took it in combination with D-ball and Deca. All right, so my stack or my cycle, I guess, was Deca. I was doing 175 a week, I think, of Deca, and I was doing 10 milligrams of Anavar and D-ball on workout days, which was every other day, because I was doing powerlifting back then. And with powerlifting, you can't really do it every day. You just can't. It's like 3 days a week, and you do a powerlifting workout and you don't want to work out the next day. You're dead, man. You're done. And if it's a really grueling workout, like you need 2 days off. So what I would do is I would take the orals pre-workout, and both of those, you're gonna get a fucking crazy increase in strength and endurance when you take those pre-workout. It's kind of a shame that they have side effects, because if there were no side effects, you better believe I'd be taking those every single freaking day, man. They are awesome when it comes to, getting stronger. Now I did take these separately, so I am, able to differentiate the effects between Anavar and D-ball and also Deca. So basically, the thing that I noticed with Anavar, well, let's talk about the positives first, right? So the positives, number one, you're going to have a strength increase. You're going to be stronger when you take Anavar. You're going to have increased muscle hardness, I guess you could call it. You're going to have bigger pumps, I guess, which is kind of related to the muscle hardness, sort of, I guess. Got some back pumps, right? So like people who talk about, you'll hear this mentioned by people who do certain types of steroids, where they'll say they got lower back pumps, right? So I'm not really sure why this happens, but when you do some steroids, like you're going to get a pump in your lower back, even if you don't train your lower back, which is just weird. It's like you get the two big ones, I think, are lower back pumps and calf pumps. Like you'll get a pump in your calf from, you're not even like doing legs or calves or anything, and you just get a random pump there. It's like, what the fuck's going on? So I would get some lower back pumps from doing Anavar, and it was annoying, but never, you hear stories of people like, oh, it was so bad, I had to lie down on the bench for 10 minutes, couldn't recover. Never got to that point with me. Did notice it, but it wasn't so bad. So for the positives, we have like, I guess, a strength increase, muscle hardness increase. Another effect that I guess is the pump is that after a workout, the pump would be, how do I say this? It like increased muscle density after the workout, which is like, when I think of a pump, I think the muscle just looks bigger and fuller. But with Anavar, after you work out, it's not just bigger and fuller, it looks more dense. So it's cool. Yeah, it's fine. Don't get me wrong. Helped with the powerlifting for sure. The strength definitely helped there. And when I was in Thailand, because I took them, so don't tell the fucking FBI or anything, but when I lived in New York, I took a month and I went to Israel. And that was fun, because I was on Deca, D-ball, and Anavar, and I didn't want to take the Deca with me because I didn't want to take a vial and syringes. I just didn't want to fucking travel with that shit. Didn't want to deal with it, customs and all that. But as you guys know, I like to travel with my little powder containers. So I was like, okay, why don't I just, and I had the D-ball and the Anavar in powders as well, not pills. So what I did, I'm really sorry about this background noise. They're fucking painting the outside of my apartment for some reason today. So anyway, I had a bunch of little tiny extra ones of these from various supplements that I had finished. And I emptied out 2 of them. I put D-ball in one, I put Anavar in the other one. Now, the problem with D-ball, and I mentioned this before, is that it's going to make you bloat like a monster. So for summertime in Tel Aviv, you don't really want to be bloated because you're on the beach, you know, you're trying to look sexy. Nobody wants to see your fucking bloated ass on the beach. Anavar is a great fucking steroid for the beach. It is like amazing. So I took it to Tel Aviv and I kind of like cooled out on the D-ball a little bit, but I would still take the Anavar. And endurance was up. I was very popular with the ladies over there on the Anavar because I still had kind of the residual effects from the D-ball. From the Deca, right? Deca takes 3 weeks to clear your system, or 3 weeks, I guess. Not 3 weeks for the half-life, but like basically you do your last shot of Deca and the 5th half-life or whatever it is going to expire after the 3-week period, something like that, or 18 days or something. So anyway, the point is that I was fucking shredded like a freak of nature, man. And I was getting like, people were making comments like, damn, man, like, you know, you're looking really good, you're looking really shredded, this and that. And it was very good for the ladies as well. So that's another benefit. If you're already in shape and you want to do like a cut, I guess, Anavar is a great fucking little steroid for that. And when I went to Thailand, basically I did the same thing. I took the Anavar and the D-ball with me, and I would do the same thing. Eventually I stopped taking the D-ball because I was so bloated. And I was worried that the D-ball was worse for my health than the Anavar. So what I would do is I would take only the Anavar and creatine and agmatine before going and doing my run and like doing my Muay Thai workout. And I noticed that I was able to train a lot harder and I was way stronger in the gym than I was the year before. Because this was my second year going back to the same Muay Thai gym. And you know, when you go back to the same place and your level of fitness changes, you're able to do the same, you know, the structure of the workouts had not changed, but my overall level of fitness had changed. I'm really sorry about this fucking noise, man. It's driving me crazy. My overall level of fitness had changed. So I noticed that I was way stronger. And like one of the things that I remember is that, you know, as part of the Muay Thai workouts, what you'll do is you'll hit the pads, right? There'll be a trainer there and I've got the pads here and you'll do kicks also. And one of what they will do, you know, one of the things that they'll do to kind of burn you out at the end of a round of doing pads is they'll put both hands up like this and they'll say, okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And you basically just hit their pads like this until you're exhausted and you burn out. That's what they expect to happen. And that's what had always happened to me the year before when I would go, is they would say 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And you go and you're pushing and then eventually like you're just like so weak and your arms are like jelly and you just can't do it anymore. When I did the Anavar and I would go there, I would go and I would push through it and I'd be like, "Ugh," and I would keep going and I would feel the burn. It would burn so bad in my arms, but somehow I still had the strength to keep fucking punching. And then I would start to like get a little bit weaker and then all of a sudden I would get kind of this second wind of strength and endurance again, and I would fucking speed it up again to the point where I eventually wore the trainer out. He's the one who said like, okay, stop, good, we're done. You know, whereas normally it's the trainee who's punching and just fucking punches himself out and he's done. So I thought that was really cool. And that was only on Anavar. Now, why am I never going to take it again? One simple reason, well, two simple reasons. Number one is that you feel like shit when you only take Anavar. Now, to be fair, like I said, you should, well, I guess I didn't say this, but you should not take steroids without a test base. Okay, I used to be kind of against this idea. I was like, oh well, because I felt really good when I was on the Deca and the D-ball. I was like, wow, Deca, D-ball, and like Anavar, like I felt amazing. So I was like, oh well, if I feel so good, it can't be bad. Since then, I've kind of changed my opinion that the only real safe steroid to take is bioidentical testosterone, because it's something your body produces naturally. Your body knows what to do with it, and if you take just a very small dose to kind of push you into, or maybe even beyond, the upper range of what genetically superior human would naturally produce, I think that is the safest for longevity. And that's I'd rather live as long as possible and be like in above average condition or excellent condition, as opposed to living a shorter amount of time and being a fucking freak of nature. That's just me. I know some people want to be a freak and all that, and they want to take all the drugs and they just don't care about the future. That's not me. Okay, so the thing with Anavar is that it's not natural, and I was taking it only by itself. And what I noticed on in the beginning when I took it by itself, and towards the end when I stopped taking the D-ball and the Deca, is that I would feel like shit when I when it wore off, I guess is the best way to put it. Like I would take it and I would do my workout and I would feel great. Maybe I wouldn't notice that I felt like shit, but then afterwards I just felt kind of like, how do I explain it? I just felt kind of icky. Just like kind of gross. And I'm not sure, what I actually kind of felt like? I've taken Osterine before, which is a SARM. And it's kind of like how I felt after taking Osterine for about a week, where I was like, just something's not right. I just don't feel good. You know what I mean? Looked amazing, looked fucking incredible, like shredded to the bone. Like when I was in Thailand, I would take off my shirt and the girls, I would just see their just mouth fucking drop, their eyes pop open. And I was like, I pretend not to notice, be like, oh yeah, just like going about my business. And I could tell they're just ready to go. So, but that said, it's not good. Another thing that I don't like about Anavar is that it fucking destroys your hair. Destroys your hair. Like, I've always been lucky to have a lot of hair, and my hair it has come back to be pretty thick now. One thing that I don't like about Anavar is that it fucking kind of destroyed my hairline, right? So I used to have a perfect hairline back when I was in Thailand. The first time it was like pretty much just fucking straight across like this, and now you can see it's going back a little bit at the temples. It's starting to fill in again. So, I think if I do a little research on more plates, more dates, and I buy all this fucking shit that he talks about all the time, I can probably get it back to normal, or a hair transplant or whatever. But I don't like that can't be good. You know what I mean? If it's doing that to your hair, I think that your hair, forget about the whole like aesthetics of having hair versus not having hair. I think there's a lot of I think you could be perfectly good looking and be bald, right? I think if you're totally bald, I think that's fine. A lot of good looking guys are bald. It's not a problem. I had my head shaved for most of my life. Most of my life I didn't even fucking have hair. I would do like a straight zero, and that was it. I didn't even think about it, So I don't mind to go back to that. Really, it's fine. But I just don't think it's healthy to do something that makes your fucking hair fall out. It really. And I remember when I was in Thailand the second time, I took my phone and I took a picture of the back of my head, because I was like, I could feel that my hair was kind of thinning out. And I was like, because you can't really see, you look in the mirror, you check this angle, that angle, you can't really tell. But I took that picture, I think I still have it on my phone, and I could see the space between my hairs. I was like, damn, this is not fucking good. Like, this is really bad. I got to stop this right now. And that's when I stopped. I was like, no more. Like, this is not good. I'm not doing this anymore. And the reason for that is that, or at least I think, Anavar is a DHT derivative. There's testosterone derivatives, there's DHT derivatives, and then there's 19-nor, I want to say, which are things like Deca or Nandrolone, I guess. And there's a couple more, right? So there's 3 categories of steroids. DHT, dihydrotestosterone, I think is what it stands for. That's the one that fucks up your hair, right? And Anavar is a derivative of that. So the idea is that, if you take testosterone, for example, it will metabolize or reduce into DHT, and there are things that you can take to stop that that like reduction process, right? Like saw palmetto or fucking finasteride or dutasteride. So you can basically, the point is you can take testosterone and take one of these other things, and it will block the conversion into DHT, so that you can keep your hair and it won't fuck you up in that way. Because DHT is very powerful, but it is a little bit toxic. The problem is that with Anavar, those things don't work because you're stopping the conversion process. You're not destroying the DHT, right? And there is no, because it's a DHT derivative and it's just like the straight DHT, there's no conversion process to stop. All right, so that's my little spiel on Anavar. Good steroid, I guess, but in my opinion, just a low dose of test is enough, really. I think the benefits that you can get from a low dose of test are the risk to reward is just so much bigger with that than with anything else, really, in my opinion. Okay, so that's what it's like to be on Anavar. What do you guys think about that? Do you want to see a video on Deca as well? I really like Deca. I think it's a great fucking drug. Just worried about like some potential heart issues with that. Need to do more research on that. But yeah, anyway, that's my video on that. Let me know what you guys think. Leave me a comment. Peace.